Kill-tacular.
Once upon a time, Halo Combat Evolved was the next big thing in the age of video games. It was a flat-out system seller for the original Xbox, took multiplayer shooters to the next level, and convinced an entire generation of mothers that with a disc and a controller, their child could become the next school shooter, which is probably why I never played it. Well, I have, but not to the point where I can say so without feeling like I'm lying. Mostly because I started playing it for the first time with a friend when I had already played a bunch of other shooters, including Bungie's own Destiny, and I thought, this is it? This is what made millions of childhoods? Yes, I know I'm one to talk. With the Xbox 360 and by extension the majority of the Halo series being seen as retro now, is Halo technically a boomer shooter? Maybe it is just too late for a Gen Zer like me. I have since played a bit of Halo Infinite's multiplayer, a much more modern form of gunplay that I can get behind, but I don't think that's gonna get me far in the Halo community. But enough talking about how unbiased I am for this series, let's hop in. We'll be playing on the Master Chief Collection on PC with my most vintage Xbox One controller. I split my 5 hours of playtime between the campaign and multiplayer evenly. After waiting nearly an hour for everything to install and researching how to optimize my settings for minimal screen tearing, there goes what's left of my nostalgia for this game. The original Halo revolves around Master Chief, a genetically enhanced super soldier, and space. There's a giant donut world, a halo if you will, that the humans go to investigate, and it turns out an aliens called the Covenant, no relation, have beat them to it, and the ring becomes a war zone. The human ship crashes on the ring, and it's up to Master Chief to save all the survivors and investigate the ring. In the first hour, I was absolutely floored by one single thing. The ability to change graphics between the original and Anniversary Edition at will must be legally required in all remakes and remasters of the video games. I had way too much fun switching between the two graphical styles. I initially found the remake graphics to be a bit generic and almost jarring, but I warmed up to them pretty quickly, and the older graphics have really aged well. And then the gameplay. I thought it was going to be much more aged, but I found it to be pretty similar to shooters like Half-Life or Quake. Movement and aiming feel surprisingly smooth, especially on a controller. If anything, it's the controls that are aged, and honestly, not that horribly. I adapted to the non-COD controls surprisingly quickly, and while it's easy enough to change the controls to such, I felt no reason to. Even in Bioshock, I changed the controls to be more like Bioshock Infinite. Maybe on the original Duke it was worse, but for AE, this is surprisingly well aged. It's not perfect, it did tend to feel a bit clunky and heavy at times, but I was impressed by how decent I felt playing the game for the first time in literal years. I wonder what this wacky space world of Halo is going to let me do.
No, maiden.
I killed enemies in a ship, killed enemies on the ground, saved Marines by killing enemies, took an ATV to kill more enemies, saved more Marines by killing enemies, led a Marine strike squad to kill more enemies, and saved the captain of the ship from before by killing all the enemies in our path. I killed many enemies in the campaign. I told that to a veteran Halo player and his response was, "I know, right?" Making me think we were not on the same frequency. This is not a problem exclusive to Halo, not by a long shot. Any single player campaign where you simply shoot different enemies with different guns just loses me. While the gameplay, AI, and some of the set pieces did really impress me, I couldn't be bothered to smile after opening a door to the third copy and pasted room full of enemies to kill. Don't get me wrong, the campaign doesn't feel like it was tacked on at the last minute. That award goes to the Call of Duty games. But it does feel a little starved for more variety in my opinion. But according to my sources, Halo is a multiplayer game at heart. So what do I think of the multiplayer? It's pretty good. I mostly played a lot of Team Slayer. Not my fault, it's just what the game gave me. I do find it very impressive how much of modern multiplayer shooters came from this game. The general layout, maps, rules, and mechanics is still used in modern shooters, and for that I commend it, but I don't know what to say. It's become so integral to the games we see nowadays that it leaves little identity for itself. Like, is there any reason to play Combat Evolved's multiplayer over 3 or 4's multiplayer, or even Infinite? I don't want to say I didn't like it. There were a few matches that felt really fun, but others were just find Spartan, shoot Spartan, maybe your team will win. I mean, I was getting footage with what felt like 7 brain cells before 2 of my friends asked if I wanted to play the finals. I started up that game, and suddenly I gained a whole 4 more brain cells, and immediately enjoyed myself. Heck, I fell into temptation and pulled a Pinball FX3 while making this video. Pinball over Halo. I think my gamer license was just revoked. I like this game. I think it's a good game for the time, but I won't deny it feels like they made good gameplay mechanics, but there's so little to do with them. You can either join a match and kill some people, or rapidly kill hordes of aliens. If that floats your boat, I'm happy for you. For me, this game had a lot of trouble keeping my attention. I'm not against going back to finish the campaign or even reviewing other games in this series. I'm willing to believe some of them are better. I've heard Bungie's 360 efforts are great, but for now, I get it. I get what it means. I get what it means to everyone else. But I just don't care. I'm giving Halo Combat Evolved a revoked gamer license out of 5 stars. Alright, thanks for watching. I'm gonna go do something productive.